So in this video I'm going to show you how to create a pop-up. There are two ways to do it. You can install the pop-up plugin into your WordPress website, or you can use the Canva themes functionality that's inbuilt, and in Canva it's called an off canvas. It's a pop-up or a sliding window that will slide in when a visitor visits the website. So the first thing we got to do is give the pop-up a name. I'm going to call it a pop-up notice. And then when we click on this button, it'll ask me to populate out what the pop-up is going to have. So there's two ways to do it. You can use the backend builder or the live builder. I'm just going to use the backend builder. And I'm going to start by adding a container. A container is just a box that you put elements into, a space. So now that we've got a container, let's start adding some elements. So the first element I'll add is a title. And I'll call this newsletter. Sign up. Okay, and I'm going to have that centered. Next thing I'm going to add is a text box. Let's see if we can find a text box. Yeah, and I'm going to say subscribe to our monthly newsletter for tips and tricks. Okay. Let's center that. Next thing I'm going to add is an image. So I want to get people's attention. So I can upload the image, or I can use an image that I've already added. So I'm going to use that image. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add a button. So I'm going to say subscribe. And because I've already got a link to my newsletter set up on the website, I'm just going to add it in as a link like that. So that looks pretty good. Now I got a newsletter sign up, I got some text, I got an image, and I got a subscribe. Okay, now I'm just going to hit update, which will save that, what I've done. And the second part of setting this up is to set the behavior. So what will trigger the pop-up to show. So let's have a look. If I look on general, I can set this to be a pop-up or a sliding bar. Pop-up will obviously pop up on the screen. Sliding bar will slide in from the right to the left. You can set any of these options to see how they look when the pop-up triggers. And tweaking these will get your pop-up to behave slightly differently each time. Set the background color. You can set an image. You can set all of these borders and things like that. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. And overlay means it will overlay on top of my home page, so that it will stand out. Close is the close button that someone will click on to close it. And there's lots of options here. So we want to have a close button because we don't want to make it obligatory that somebody signs up. They have the option not to do that. Animation is just about how it will this box will appear. So I'm going to make it fade in, and I'm going to make it fade in. The animation will take a second to fade in. Now, these are the most important options. So this is conditions and triggers. If we have a look at conditions, I have to set a condition when the pop-up will actually fire. So I have to tell it. So I want it to display, I can have it to display on the entire site, or I can say, no, I just want it to display on the home page only. So now that I've set that option, I'm going to hit save. Now that's one of the options set, and it's set on the front page. And the trigger is how often, the trigger is when do I want the pop-up to display. So I can set that it will display after 5 seconds, okay, or I can set it to display on the page load. It's best just to set one of these triggers, otherwise it can be somewhat confusing to when it sets. So I've got it all set now. And the last thing is we can have a look at the rules that are here. It'll show every time somebody goes, or we can prevent it from showing after a certain amount of time. Something to bear in mind is that when somebody clicks on the X to close it, the pop-up won't appear for another 30 days. That's a cookies thing. So if they sign up, it won't appear for 30 days, and if they hit the X, it won't appear for 30 days. So now that we've got it saved, let's load up my website and see if this fires. And it does, yes. So there's my pop-up. It has displayed. It won't go away until I click on this X or I click on the subscribe. So if I click on the subscribe, I'm brought to the subscribe page, and there we go. I can sign up for the newsletter. So that's how it works. That's the Avada off canvas pop-up option. Pretty simple. You can tweak the options to make the pop-up come in for left or right or whatever.